Good morning, everyone. We just formed a quorum, and it's the appointed time. Let's get started. This is a special meeting on the renewal of the domestic free television program service licenses of ATV and TVB. With us today are members of the public. First of all, let's invite the deputations to join us and also the administration team. Let me briefly report to members. We have already scheduled 27th of March, 8:30 to 10:30 for a special meeting on the mobile TV license controversy. So please jot that down in your diary. First of all, let us welcome the representatives from the administration and also the two broadcasters. From the administration, we have Mr. Joe Wong, Deputy Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development, Mr. Aaron Liu, Principal Assistant Secretary for the Bureau. And then from the Communications Authority, we have Ms. Susie Ho, Vice Chairperson of the Communication Authority, and Mr. Raymond Wong, Chairman of the Broadcast Codes of Practice Committee from the CA, and Mr. Adrian Wong, Chairman of the Broadcast Complaints Committee, and Mr. Anthony Cito, Member of the CA. And then from the OFCA, we have Ms. Eliza Lee, Director General of Communications, and also Ms. Katie Wong, Assistant Director. And then from ATV, we have Mr. Ikwa Po, and also Mr. Lau Lan Cheung and Mr. Nicholas Lee. And then from TVB, we have Mr. S.K. Cheung, Mr. Mark Lee, and Mr. Desmond Chen, and Mr. S.Y. Tam. And the deputations are also coming in, and the meeting will start from 9 until 11. And each deputation will be given 3 minutes. So in terms of the order of speech, we have the deputations first, and then we will have the two broadcasters speaking, and then the administration and also the CA can respond to remarks made by the various parties. The purpose of today's special meeting is to hear from the deputations their views on the renewal of license for ATV and TVB. And I'd like to welcome all of you here, and I'd also like to welcome the administration, the CA, and also the TV and representatives from the two broadcasters. And first of all, I'd like to invite all of you to put on your earpiece, and channel 0 is floor, channel 1 and 2 are English and Cantonese, and you can also tune into Channel 3 for Putonghua, because some of the deputations have indicated that they'd like to speak in Putonghua. And I'd like to remind all of you here, including the officials and the deputations, that their verbal remarks and written submissions will not be covered by the Electoral Powers and Privileges Ordinance. So let's get started. First, Mr. Lam Chak Ting, 3 minutes, please. Thank you, Chairman. The written submission from the DP has been passed on to the Secretariat. I'll be focusing on the reasons why the DP is against the renewal of license for ATV, and also our criticisms against TVB. What the public is most concerned or not happy with ATV is the quality and also rerun of programs. For example, for the old drama that was repeated or replayed 5 times, and also A Date with Zombie was also repeated 5 times, and also Focus was repeated 4 times, and also for the Q&A lesson it's repeated 4 times. And then early last year, they also rerun the fireworks display back in 1989 that was rerun on the second day of the Lunar New Year. And there was also this misreporting of the death of Mr. Jiang Zemin, and as a result, ATV became the laughing stock of the of the entire region in Asia. And also half of the time, ATV would be repeating or rerunning the old programs either that day, and then they just have horse racing and also financial news, and they have very little or few local productions. And also another point that ATV is subject to a lot of criticism, that is in terms of current affairs, that their stance is very biased. They have attracted tens of thousands of complaints, which was record-breaking. And also in terms of the popularity rating, is very appalling. Very often it's just 1 to 3%, and very often they would also get 0 rating. So the viewers are very clear-minded. It shows that they are very upset about the programming by ATV. As a result of that, the DP is against the application by ATV for a renewal of license, and TVB has no competition for a long time, and therefore the quality of its programs has been coming down. And then in terms of the drama series, they would just be fighting for estate, and also the separation of mother with child, and also they would also be repeating bad taste programs and also games programs. And in terms of the fun program, even if they were named the final saga, they never ended, and the viewers have no choice, and as a result, TVB is dominating the market. That's why the DP is of the view that the administration should, in terms of the renewal of license by the TVB, they should have imposed more conditions to force TVB to improve its program quality. All in all, the one who is dedicated to run a TV station, Mr. Ricky Wong, has been denied a license, and then ATV is continuing to get its license, and this is really very ridiculous, and I think this is more ridiculous than any plot of any possible TV drama series. Next, Mr. Lee Chun-hei, I'm from Civic Party. Well, watching TV has been one of the main entertainment programs for many in the community, and in the past they used to talk about TV drama series, and now they are still doing this. They would just talk about the failures of the programs and also the TV series and so on. Well, the TV signals are very important public assets, but then the two TV broadcasters have been monopolizing the airwaves in Hong Kong, and as a result, there would be far-reaching implications on people's daily life. With regard to the program quality of the two broadcasters, and also in terms of the actual impact, we'd like to express our views. We hope that we can receive quality programs, and the airwaves are a very important public asset, and therefore they should not be monopolized. They should not just be used to display or to show programs in their favor. And in the past, there have been programs that have not been entirely accurate, and they've also expressed very biased opinions, and as a result, they have attracted a lot of criticisms. For example, in ATV, they have also attracted 45,000 complaints as a result of their programs criticizing national education protesters and so on. And also TVB has also attracted some 2,000 or 27,000 complaints as a result of their complaints against Hong Kong TV's application for free-to-air TV license. And well, for airwaves, they are very different from the press, because you're talking about free-to-air TV signals, and therefore regulating the programs would not be helpful. In fact, they would also be taking advantage of certain legal loopholes, and they would continue to send out biased attitude through the airwaves. The CE Council, in making its final decision on the applications, should look at the conduct and integrity of the two broadcasters, for example, whether or not they have abused the airwaves for their own purposes. And also, when the CA receives complaints, they would just give advice or issue warnings. Taking TVB as an example, they have repeatedly inserted commercials in the programs, and they would charge you millions of dollars. And if you're just punishing them by imposing a fine of tens of thousands of dollars, it's not going to hurt. And therefore, we propose that the penalty should be increased and there should be more deterrent clauses or penalties. And on this occasion, they are just talking about complaints and also the programs and how they should be classified and so on. And they have not talked about the popularity rating. But then if you look at the popularity rating announced by the two broadcasters, they are very different, and therefore the CA should collect its own data so that the public will be able to monitor and assess the performance of the two broadcasters. And given the deteriorating quality of programs of the two broadcasters, one is rerunning all the programs and the other would be repeating the plots all the time. So for those who have a license, they are not running their operations properly, and for the one who is dedicated to his service, he's not able to get a license, and therefore we should allow the public to enjoy quality programs. Next, Mr. Liu Yip from Youth Civics.
We think that there should be more conditions introduced through this exercise so that the two broadcasters will be acting in public interest. Actually, some old programs of ATVs are better than the new ones. They have two digital channels to broadcast Assumption TV and Central CCTV, and not for local programs. So if this continues, would the room for local production be further squeezed and affecting the livelihood of local employees? As for the high definition J channel, actually a lot of programs overlap with those for Jade, and during the peak hours is 90% overlapping. As for ATV, two were for broadcasting outside channels, and one is for broadcasting old rerun programs. That's a big waste. We've only got 2 free-to-air broadcasters. One is doing a complacent job. All the programs look similar, and the other is just trying to linger on as long as possible. So all these affect the standard of local productions. For example, local netizens, once you mentioned ATV, they would respond by a 4-word slang, or you might as well close it down. And now Hong Kong TV was not given a license. Even if they turn to mobile broadcasting, the CA is still not going to let them move on. As some have said, those who are willing and able cannot get a license, and those who are getting a license are not doing a good job. So this has to do with the overall environment. Miss Alice Mack said something when she attended a conference to support the ATV, and that is with competition we'll have improvement and progress. So we believe that we should make use of this opportunity to eliminate incompetent broadcasters, i.e. ATV. With a lot of available digital channels, we should open the market and introduce competitors. This would allow high-quality programs to be offered, and also revitalize the local TV production industry, and also to lay the foundation for a good broadcasting industry. All right, competition brings progress. Next, we have Mr. Wade Chan from DAB. Chairman, there were 3 public forums on the renewal of the domestic free television program service licenses. All kinds of views have been aired. I don't need to repeat them. And I would like to talk about how we can ensure a healthier development of the industry by bringing in more conditions. First, there should be more independent production companies. We would like to see more quality programs if we introduce more broadcasters. But this may not happen in reality, because the top talents and from producers, directors to actors have all been monopolized by big TV broadcasters. even though they do not want to produce more, they would ensure that no others can do it. And if that's not possible, the second tier, the producers can only resort to the popular programs. We should encourage the separation of production and broadcasting by bringing in independent production companies, and they can also specialize in their specific fields. In other countries, many quality programs are produced by the very good production companies, and the programs are distributed worldwide. The UK is an example. Some 36% of the quality programs produced there are produced by the production companies. There's at present no specific requirements in the TV licenses that they should allow certain independent production programs to be aired. If we allow this, we can encourage progress and diversification. And also, TV stations, TV broadcasters should offer more choice in terms of news and enhance quality of program in news and current affairs. Compared with overseas broadcasters, local broadcasters do not have international perspective. We seldom have programs touching on international perspectives. So there's a big room to improve the maturity and complexity of locally produced programs. At present, the license fee is fixed at $4.7 million, and also a variable component based on broadcasting time. Well, your time is up. Next, we have Mr. CHU. Mr. Frankie CHU. In June 2012, Mr. Wang Jing of the ATV was fined $1 million. And now Mr. Wang is still there and is still in control. The programs they produce, the ATV producer was like those produced to be aired through the internet. Mr. Wang Jing is still in control of ATV, and the government has failed in taking action to rectify this. So if we don't give them a renewed license, that would be the solution. If this is put up for option, if the ATV's license is put up for option, and if someone offers something similar to what is being offered by ATV, would you say this bidder would have any chance at all to get a license? And lastly, if we can renew the license of ATV, we are rewarding mediocrity. Ms. Michelle Fong from Hong Kong in media. Yes, I represent Hong Kong in media. Let me say something about the CA, Communications Authority. I believe the authority has the duty to safeguard our freedom of speech. And under Section 16 of Hong Kong Bill of Rights, everyone has a right to seek and spread information. So our freedom of information is protected by our law, by our Bill of Rights. But now such rights are monopolized by big corporations. Ordinary citizens cannot compete with them on an equal footing. In the recent Hong Kong TV incident, you know that the CA has been acting oddly. Before they actually introduced the mobile TV services, the officials have already warned them about what possible consequences if they violate certain rules. But there has been nothing said about the revocation of the licenses of the two TV broadcasters. So are you foreshadowing that the licenses will be renewed just the same? I think the CA must come up tell us the contingency plan. That is, if the two broadcasters are not getting their license renewed, what would happen? We don't want this become a routine matter that you are going to do it once every 12 years, and the result is already set in stone. Many people have asked for the recovery of the spectrum used by TVB and the license issued to ATV. Actually, this can be a partial recovery. If you have other political considerations and must allow the two broadcasters to continue with their operations, then a partial recovery of the spectrum would be an incentive to reward quality and a lesson for mediocre performers. Our legislation is lagging behind the advancement of technology. We should recover part of the spectrum and allow community TV programs to be aired, which are produced by small TV broadcasters on a non-profit making basis, so as to enhance the mutual understanding of different minorities in Hong Kong. Mr. Tam Kwok San, well, the heyday of our TV industry was when we had 3 broadcasters. Now we basically have 1. ATV is a living dead organization. There are many absurdities referred to by many speakers. I want to add just 2 more. The senior people of ATV said this at a forum. The prize presentation ceremony of TVB that gave awards to many artists which were previously under ATV. That means that even with good people, ATV is not able to do good things, and they are wasting the airwave and spectrum. And second, ATV was fined for the leasing some of the channels and spectrums to TVB. So ATV cannot really make use of the resources, and they are just squattering on the resources allocated. And second, the monopoly of TVB depends on one thing, and that is that they resort to unconscionable contract terms and monopolize many artists, many singers, and these people are forced into unfair contracts, and they are not given chances to perform, and they are not allowed to perform for other broadcasters. I think we should have an anti-monopoly condition inserted into the new license for TVB so as to ensure a booming TV industry in Hong Kong. TVB's monopoly has a lot to do with what we allow them to do. Some officials said earlier that someone would like to set up a private kitchen by holding a hawker's license, and that's against the law. But what about those who are holding the license to set up a private kitchen, but they're running a hawker's business? Why don't you enforce the law against these organizations? You are warning people that they might breach the law even before they have done anything. But you have done nothing about those who have already violated the law. I don't know what the officials are doing or what kind of standards they are adhering to. And now we want to have a civil nomination for the CE election, and then we will have freedom of information. With that, we will have freedom of expression, and we will have the freedom from fear, and there will be no self-censorship. Well, Hong Kong mobile phones can receive signals from mobile broadcasters in the mainland. Well, this is a meeting attended by so few people. I don't know why there are so many empty seats here. I urge the ATV not to waste our broadcasting spectrum. I see a trailer to advertise an old program. Since you have time and resources to produce a trailer for an old program, why don't you use the same to produce a new program? And you even ATV even resorted to a publicity event to publicize a rerun program. And there was nothing underneath under the stage. Mr. Yip of ATV responded to criticism that there are so many reruns, saying that we should not forget history. I Have a Date with a Vampire is an everlastingly green program. Young people of yesteryears saw it, but how about today's young people? Well, I think we should not forget history, and we should try to we should try to overturn the verdict on June 4th. And then the ATV has this strange record of attracting more people to complain than the total number of audience. And they also refer to this 6-to-4 ratio. On the 22nd of November 2012, ATV Focus said that there was an opinion poll conducted by Hong Kong U. That is the number of viewers of ATV programs was 3.88 million and the TVB 5.74 million, so altogether 10 million or so. But in 2012, Hong Kong's population was only 7.15 million.
In other words, you claim that there were 10 million people watching TV. How come there were 3 million more than the actual population in Hong Kong? So are you talking about 3 million people smuggling into Hong Kong from the mainland? And other than horse racing news, I think there is no value for ATV to continue its operations. All right, for my mom and dad, they couldn't play with the computers, and therefore they find it very boring watching TV. Next, well, as a Hong Konger, TV entertainment programs used to accompany us when we grew up, and it's also a medium through which we can get news from around the world. And I'm not going to talk about the technical issues and also other issues here. What I'd like to say to officials and also other deputations here, I'd just like to share with you my feelings about the two broadcasters. First of all, on ATV, I've been watching ATV since my childhood. I would be watching that all the time because if you look at the program on ATV, you'd often find programs that could not be found from the other broadcaster, for example, drama series and also entertainment programs, information programs and infotainment programs and so on. Well, even ATV wasn't the mainstream broadcaster back in those days. I would be watching ATV on a regular basis. But now, back to these days, I can only name one program from ATV, and that's Focus, because earlier on, the Communications Authority received over 42,000 complaints against this particular program. What I'd like to say to the management of ATV is that the fact that you've been able to attract some 40,000 complaints against your program is not populist, it's public opinion. With regard to my perception of ATV today, well, I think it has never attempted to make improvement, and it's very complacent, and therefore it's a waste of our public resources and also our airwaves. And therefore, I urge ATV management to give up on applying for renewal of its license so that we can enjoy better programming. And TVB is the mainstream broadcaster, and I believe that majority of the public would get the entertainment, most of the entertainment programs from TVB. But then, despite this advantage, TVB has never attempted to make progress. If you look at their drama series, well, the plots are always the same, whether or not you're a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever. So you are often involved in very complicated relationships with others, and also they've also been a lot of problems with the backdrops and so on, and they would also insert a lot of commercials in their drama series and so on. And as a result, some of the entertainment programs and drama series are inconsistent. And also, for a longest run game program, they would be repeating the games all the times, and they would just be doing this all the time. So it's been run and rerun for 18 years. So there is a lack of creativity, and very often they would just copy the plots from similar programs elsewhere. I hope the TVB can be more innovative and creative so that they could also produce programs that would have a local flavor and also local characteristics. So I have prepared a summary of what I'd like to say, but then I'd just like to say that TVB has not been doing its job. Next, Mr. Zhang. Good morning, everyone. I've expressed a lot of views on the TV programming here. I think public opinions are very clear. They are supportive of the two broadcasters because I've participated in many rallies, and I was the only one who was disputing the popularity, and you can see that the public is very supportive of the two broadcasters. As you can see, Mr. James Shing said that he's not printing money, but then definitely Wang Zheng is prepared to invest a lot of money. I've also gone up to focus on several occasions, and they've also been able to show me in a very good light. And I can also say this to you. I can still remember, well, for ATV, they've also groomed many talents, for example, Tin Yui and also Men Yi Men, and she used to play a role in My Date Was a Vampire. So you can rerun the programs because even Mr. Li Po-won, he used to work for ATV too. So you should, in fact, even Kwang Ho-ying has joined TVB. So for the ATV program Focus, which has been the subject of many criticisms or complaints, and if you can play a program, well, it's an old program, and many people look very good when they are putting on their swimsuit. So it's about how people put on their bikini. So it's like a political bikini, and if everybody learns from scholarism, I'm not going to criticize him as a spoiled brat. Then, well, who would be watching me? So who would be watching Focus if it's not been uploaded onto YouTube? Then who would be watching it? Even scholarism would be watching YouTube. Nobody would be watching the 6:30 main news. Now coming back to TVB, all right, we talk about equal treaty or the fair use terms. But that nobody is complaining against it. The reason why I voice my views here, because when I take a train on the East Rail or West Rail, well, if you watch the news on cable TV, their news are really appalling because many people would be speaking in Putonghua around me on MTR, and therefore, as a result, I couldn't even take a nap. So, honestly, if you have to speak in Putonghua, then I will not be able to put up with it. So I understand that for the renewal of licenses, you might just be going through the motions, but then I think you should shorten the license period. I'm Yang Ho-chun from the Liberal Party. I think the performance of the two broadcasters have been disappointing, and ATV has not been making progress at all, and I don't understand how come it can continue with its operation. I don't know why it can sustain. And for ATV, they do not produce their own programs. They're just rerunning old programs and so on. And I'm sure all of you are clear about it. Many have spoken about that. And then coming back to TVB, it is monopolizing the market, and there is no competition at all. And the plots are always the same, competing for personal estates and so on. From time to time, they might be showing good programs, but then that would just be a flash in the pan. So we are critical of you because we want you to do a better job. That's because of a lack of competition. You've been very complacent. Well, I can still remember there was a time when there was this emergency call online to get 800 set-top boxes so that they would be able to lower the popularity rating or viewership for TVB. I was wondering how come they are playing this up to such an extent, because in the past we used to view or perceive TVB broadcasting or the broadcasting industry is a very important industry. Why are we having this sorry state of affairs? So we should not just be asking the two broadcasters to improve their quality. We should also be looking at the administration, which is adopting an outdated approach in monitoring the performance of the two broadcasters. And if you look at the TV program code, they are just looking at some very basic requirements, and it's a far cry from the aspiration of the public. For example, the administration has not been monitoring the number of hours of local productions shown by local broadcasters. As a result, ATV was broadcasting mainly programs from other sources, and in 2009, that's because of many public complaints that the CA or the administration asked ATV to produce more local programs. And if it's so easy for them to renew their licenses, it's only understandable that they would be complacent. And there has been no progress at all for many years. The administration should consider, before granting a renewal of license to the two broadcasters, they should come up with a new set of requirements, and the two broadcasters will have to submit their applications again, and they will also have to come up with a budget of investment, so that the decision will be taken after vetting their proposals, because all we want is good programs, and the administration should understand our wish, and I'm sure officials would also watch TV, right? Next, I'm from Liberal Party. I'm from the Liberal Party Youth Committee. Well, during the past 10 years, many people are disappointed with the two TV broadcasters. I think it's a well-known fact. And ATV has been very complacent, and its viewership is very poor. And that's because they have been rerunning their programs, and its characteristics is that they have no characteristics at all. They do not have their own productions. And what is most outrageous, within a 24-hour period, they would be rerunning programs, and they would be rerunning programs up to 4 times a day. So how can you call that very good programming or good productions? Other than the fact that they do not have their own productions, they also produce non-drama series which are of very poor quality. In March 2012, it was fined $300,000 for misreporting the death of Mr. Jiang Zeming, and they've also produced a program criticizing national education, and that sparked a public outcry, and as a result, CA received over 40,000 complaints, and is a record high in the last 10 years. And also, TVB is dominating the market, and they have been very complacent, and they think that their productions are very good. That's why they are very happy with that. And also, given the low viewership for ATV, there is this routine viewing by viewers, and many people would just say that TVB is very complacent, and as a result, the local TV industry has not been making progress. It is making a lot of regression, and as a result, it's been superseded or overtaken by our neighbors. We used to be the hub of TV productions, and in the 80s, Hong Kong produced drama series would monopolize the market worldwide. For example, Chow Yun-fat, Andy Lau, and also Andy Leung, they've all come from TVB, and they've all taken part in TV drama series in the past. Other than that, the administration has not been doing its job as a regulator. And for the Communications Authority, being the authority responsible for issuing licenses and also monitoring the performance of the two broadcasters, it has the duty to make sure that the two broadcasters are doing their jobs and also producing quality programs, and there should also be sustainable development in the sector. The administration should review its existing licensing mechanism, and it should also review its renewal mechanism so that there would be objective criteria, so that the public will be able to play a bigger role in the process, and they would also be able to play a part in monitoring the renewal of license by the two broadcasters. Next. Thank you. Mr. CHU, I think ATV should not have its license renewed. For example, Wang Zheng has offered several loans to ATV, over 50 million in the last year, and they would just be spending the money in publicizing or promoting programs that was produced more than 10 years ago. So it's, for example, a data My Date with a Vampire. So what else has ATV produced? So are you talking about news bar talk? But then for drama series, they've been able to sell it at a higher price. And many of these are info or documentaries. And also Lui King Pan was only in his position for 6 months before he stepped down. And also for Wang Zheng, who is in control of ATV, ATV would rather go to the court, and as a result, the report by the Communications Authority was delayed by a year. And this conduct by ATV has already rendered it not competent and fit and proper to hold a license, and is not able to run its business. And also looking at TVB, yes, it is able to get its license renewed because of its financial position and so on. But then if you look at TVB drama series, actually that would affect people's common sense. For example, as Ip Kapo said, we must not forget history, and therefore I like to say this to TVB. If you look at drama series of TVB, and if you look at historical data, they have made a number of mistakes. For example, in 2012, they have a drama series, and many people have shown that there were 40 points or areas which are a departure from the actual facts, and they've also known to distort his history. For example, if the surname of a particular person is Yun, but then if you look at the subtitles of TVB, they would also get it wrong. So they don't know history. This is really a very low taste mistakes. Yes, you cannot just repeat history, but then without mentioning it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So I think if you are reporting history in such a distorted manner, it's not good. I've also filed complaints with the CA, but then the CA said that they did not have relevant mechanism to regulate such misreporting or inaccurate information, and therefore we should insert this condition so that the public would also play a part in monitoring the performance of TVB, and if they ever come up with data or information that is not accurate, then we can at least file a complaint.
If it's A, and then if you see TVB the drama, you think it's B. So in terms of script writing, production, and so on and so forth, TVB should take on board views from viewers to ensure the authenticity and the accuracy of information, so that people will not criticize TVB as a complacent broadcaster. First of all, I'd like to thank TVB, because TVB has given me more reasons for not supporting the renewal. I'm from cold-blood citizen, but we are not cold-blooded as those assailants of Mr. Kevin Lau. And then we will not do what some people have done over the internet, on the internet, saying that, well, no one has died. We don't mind that ATV license is renewed, on the conditions that channels 15 and channel 17 be recovered, taken back, which are now being used for broadcasting the mainland channels for the other broadcasters, because they are not targeting local viewers. They are just transmitting the signal from mainland. In the olden days, there were very good programs from ATV. Why didn't they rerun those quality current programs? And then what about the program hosted by the chairman of this panel? Why don't you rerun the program hosted by Mr. Raymond Wong instead of having Mr. Chin Pui Chung hosting that rubbish program? It's better than broadcasting CCTV. At least we get some laugh. And if ATV gets its license renewed, then it must be due to the interference from Beijing. And the TVB programs are so sloppily produced. And in one news program, call the organizations set up by Ms. Claudia Mo and other people as another local organization. And they want harmony above everything. They would try. On the 7th of February, I was protesting outside Aberdeen police station and show our support for the activists to safeguard Diaoyu Islands. And the reporter asked me to step aside simply because I was wearing a particular T-shirt. Well, so far, no one has said anything about the relationship between the renewal of the license for the two broadcasters and freedom of information. And if a license was given back then to Mr. Ricky Wong, what would TVB said? What would TVB said? And then you would say that I would certainly ask all the Mr. Chan CHU and other people in his camp to host our programs. Actually, the broadcasters can certainly blackmail this unpopular government through such editorial arrangements. I think if we ask people to excuse themselves because of conflict, then the first one that should not be heard would be the SAR government. Well, if I launch a complaint to you, CA, or to this ICAC, can I get a redress? Some speakers have referred to the current affairs program called Long Mun Zhan, the discussion forum of ATV. Have we seen a similar one in the past 10 years or so? Or why in your channel showing the reruns, you're not offering these? I don't even see the Sona advertisement featuring Manbit or Mr. Chen Qijun. Well, we may complain, we may criticize, and then whatever we say will not stop the fact that ATV will get another 12-year license. So please consider that one day Mr. C.Y. Leung is overthrown, and then we have a new government, and you will be incarcerated in Shapik, and every day you would be forced to view all those rerun programs, and then you will be seeing viewing ATV programs together with other inmates, including Mr. Lam Kok Wan. So if we carefully think it, we have to be serious about. We must think twice before renewing the license of ATV. Mr. Tam Shi Fan. Well, in Hong Kong, the TV industry is monopolized by two broadcasters, ATV and TVB. They are strictly regulated, and members of the public have higher and higher demands and of the quality of programs. Now the TVB has 2 channels, ATV has 6, and 2 are not really creative in nature because they are just transmitting signals from Samchan and CCTV. And even for the ATV's own channels, the contents are monotonous, and that is no competition here is an oligopoly. And now actually TVB is in a monopoly. In 1973, in the U.S., when there was the oil crisis, because of soaring oil prices, the U.S. government resorted to deregulation to save the market. Hong Kong can do the same. If we want to promote the creative industry in Hong Kong, we should make the best use of our talents. We should deregulate the market, allow more choices. not just force people to place advertisement in either ATV or TVB. There's an incentive problem. There is no incentive to encourage quality production. Apart from horse racing programs, ATV has no intention to work hard. In a capitalist society, we should have trust in competition, and we should allow the weak to be eliminated. And our law is lacking behind. And more than 10 years ago, we could not imagine that people can view TV programs on their mobile phone. We should not renew the licenses of ATV and TVB. And there's an external factor here as well. If we have a normal development of our broadcasting industries, other cultural industries can also be benefited. And we can publicize Hong Kong through our cultural industry. This will be positive. Just like, look at Taiwan. They have dedicated channels for sports or for advertisement, and now we have everything integrated into a program. Please give our people the choice. That's the best solution. Next, we have the Hong Kong Society for the Deaf, and we have an interpreter to speak for him. Good morning. I'm here representing the Hong Kong Society for the Deaf. I'm a deaf person. My name is Wong Wai Keung. Good morning. Good morning. In respect of free-to-air television broadcasting, I hope there would be something that would encourage integration and inclusion. On the question of renewal of licenses, I hope the government will agree to these 6 points. First, news programs touches on many daily issues. The information is about our society, and the deaf need to have access to information, and it's not easy for them to have access to news, so there should be sign interpreters or subtitles, so as to enable the deaf to understand news. Number 2, on live broadcast programs, and sometimes the subtitles subtitles are not possible, but if there is a sign interpreter providing simultaneous interpretation, that would be much better. Number 3, if there are emergency events, sudden and unforeseen events, such as a typhoon approaching or an accident, there should be sign interpretation. And 4th, sometimes the subtitle is there for a news broadcast, but when the presenters are talking to each other, there is no subtitle. I hope a subtitle can be added for their dialogues. And now there are subtitle requirements on certain programs, but I would like to see the same done for the live programs. Number 6, we hope that people with disabilities be featured. We hope that there is a barrier-free society. We hope to have inclusion of people with disabilities, and people with disabilities should be involved in more programs. We have 2 more members of the public who have just arrived. I'll allow them to speak now. Mr. Chung Kin-sing. Let me talk about the licensing system first. In the colonial era, it was the governor-in-council which was responsible for licensing. On the 8th of January 2008, there was a magistrate ruling that such a licensing system as unconstitutional. And now it's up to the CE in council to make a decision. It's not up to the CA. In the court, I raised this question. I put this question to Mr. Lau Kwong Chung, Deputy Director General of CA. And I asked if I comply with all the conditions, so would I get a license straight away? And the answer was that it's up to the CE in council. So this is unconstitutional. I support that we have two broadcasters. Well, I actually support that we should support the idea that we should have 20 broadcasters. We should have free airwave, and then we don't have any instant like the sacking of Miss Li Wai-ling or Mr. Jiang King-hong, and Mr. Ricky Wong would not be driven into despair. Well, the Citizens Radio has been using the airwave for 8 years, and now no one has ever been able to prove that we are affecting anyone's safety or the operations of the aviation industry, the police, or the fire station. If we open up the airwave, then we will have many more choices. What other cities have so limited a choice? Like Hong Kong, we've only got 2 TV broadcasters, and the CA says that Mr. Ricky Wong has got a hawker's license, and he wants to set up a private kitchen. Well, if we use that analogy, the ATV has been in a coma for 8 years. They are now offering the leftovers over all those years. TVB is better. They're offering you wasabi, pickled vegetables, and sushi, kimchi, like what they are doing in their games shows. It's the low taste.
And then for TVB, it doesn't know what's happening in the outside world. So you've been singing praises to the Japanese maritime forces, and you're talking about their glory. Time's up. Well, a couple of days ago, when I went to the Chinese or the Hong Kong style cafe, they used to have set menus, and then menu A would be fried eggs and minced beef, and then menu B would be minced beef with fried eggs. And of course, I think the operator was really very humorous by offering 2 choices, and indeed is no choice at all, because they are just the same. So I think that's the same for Hong Kong's broadcasting industry. Well, we all want to see reforms, and the licensing system should be reformed, and you should borrow the example from ITV in the UK, so that for the operator running the channels and also the producers, they should be segregated. So it's like segregating dispensing of drugs and also the medical profession, because in the US you can buy drugs on your own when you go to a pharmacy. But then in Hong Kong, well, for the operator of channels and the operator of, or the producer of programs, they are the same. But then, in fact, you can have different producers producing programs, and then even within the same channel, there can also be competition. And if there is more competition, then there is no way that they do not compete with one another. They will have to come up with quality programs. And then in the UK, all right, in a particular county, they would have a particular operator, and then when you go to a different county, even if you are talking about the same channel, actually you can still run different programs if you're in different locations. Looking at Hong Kong, when you try to review our licensing systems for the TV industry, you've never face up to the problems. And if you do not segregate the operator of channels and the producer of programs, then we will have this problem time and again, and history is going to repeat itself. Well, in the next 5 years, RTHK is going to have its own TV channel. And then for the existing time slots are reserved by the 2 broadcasters for RTHK, can they immediately be auctioned so that they can be put up for public tendering, whether or not Ricky Wong or somebody else, they will be able to produce programs, and then they can run their programs on these time slots, whether it's on TVB or ATV. There is no reason why RTHK should be taking up these time slots if they are wrong, if they are having their wrong channels. And therefore, if these time slots are returned to ATV or TVB, then at least they could be put up for auction. So can we make a head start so that we can have this pilot program, so that for program production that could be segregated from the broadcaster itself? We have already had trial runs in the past. I hope that there can be a breakthrough in the next 5 years. Thank you so much for the deputation's time to speak. We have Ms. Law, who has chosen not to speak. She's been here, and yet she has decided not to speak. Okay, so we'll be asking the 2 licensees to respond to the remarks made by the deputations. They've heard their remarks. They could also briefly respond to their remarks, so we'll be giving them a bit more time, 6 minutes each. First of all, Mr. Ip Ka Po from ATV. Chairman, everybody, good morning. Just now I heard officials and deputations making their comments about our company. I'd like to make a response here. Well, ATV is the only TV broadcaster which is focusing on developing free-to-air TV programs, and in the past 50 years or so, we have been growing up together with the Hong Kong community. During the past 4 years, yes, at ATV we have had some changes, and that's because we are changing our position, because we'd like to act as the conscience of a community. That's why, in terms of our programming, we've attached more importance to current affairs, people's livelihood, and also information or documentary programs. Just now, I've heard from many deputations saying that in the past, ATV has rarely produced its own programs, or we've been rerunning programs all the time. Well, here I'd like to say to all of you here, during the past 4 years, if you look at our own productions, we've been improving our quality, and we've been increasing the number of such programs. And if you look at the programs run by ATV Home, starting from 6 in the morning, we have been running programs that are produced on our own. And then from 6 to 11:30 p.m., we only have one drama series purchased from elsewhere. Others are raw local programs. There's not been there's no program that is rerun. They are raw, newly produced programs. Just now, many people said that we did not produce our own programs, but then these are documentaries. How can you say that they are not our own productions? Well, we are aware that in Hong Kong, we are actually embarking on a track of democratization. That's why during the past few years, we have greatly slashed programs which have an entertainment element, and we try to set up an open platform for different parties and camps of views to express their views, and they can also produce programs that can be shown on our channel. I can give you some examples, because in the past we had first-hand truth, so that members of the public were able to go online or use their mobile phones to shoot programs, and then they could also, those clips could also be shown. And we also have micro movies, and we welcome people who have views about certain stories, and if they'd like to do that in the form of micro movies, then we would also show them. So we have done that, and also for the Hong Kong Loving Hearts campaign. So we are trying to instill positive value in the minds of people. That's why we've worked with many parties and organizations in Hong Kong so that positive energy can also be instilled in our program. During the past few years, we have also got this news bar talk. We have opened up this platform for people from different camps and different political affiliations. They can all come to our show and express their views about current affairs. And they can also chat on the program. And last night, we also invited Ricky Wong to come over to our program. And then he also had a very nice chat with our program host, and also focus will become more open. We will welcome people with different political affiliations to share with us their views. And just now, many people also talk about rerunning programs. In fact, internationally speaking, in different broadcasters, they've also been rerunning programs. And ATV, yes, we are rerunning some programs during the late night time slots, and also in the afternoon during certain time slots. We would also be rerunning programs. We have already made some adjustments to the programming, so we would just be rerunning the programs that are shown on the same day. And then for other TV broadcasters, they would rerun programs of the same day or rerun programs of the past. As we have already got this channel on past programs, on the programs of the good old days. So for people who might not be able to watch such programs on their cell phones, they could also watch such programs on their TV sets. And some also said that for the TV drama series My Date with a Vampire, and we rent that in a shopping center, and there was no one there. In fact, I think this was misreporting. In fact, on that particular day, there were tens of thousands of people in that shopping center. We could send you pictures to show how many people there were watching our program. So many people were there attending our promotion on this program. So we can say that we are not affiliated with any political party or property or some consortium. We would not be affected by any populist thoughts, and we will continue with our path as people's conscience. Next, Mr. Lee Po-won. Thank you, Chairman. We have already attended 4 public hearings together with this one, and we have heard different aspirations and requests. In fact, in recent years, we have put in a lot of resources, including human resource and also investment in other forms. So I'd like to focus on 2 areas today. One is that we are just a commercial organization. We are different from RTHK. We are not sponsored in any way. We are not given any funding support. So we have to comply with many licensing requirements, and we also have to discharge our corporate responsibility. And at the same time, we have to ensure that there would be appropriate revenue, and commercials are our important source of revenue, and Hong Kong is a very small market, and there is very little prospect of the growth in commercial revenue. That's why we have to develop more sources of revenue so that we can meet our production costs in order to produce better programs. And then for commercial sponsorship, I think that's the main trend. If you watch Korean drama series, Japanese drama series, and even if you've watched the Oscar Prize presentation ceremony, Hong Kong is actually running counter to this trend. So we have to talk to the Communications Authority as to how this can be done. Next is about copyright infringement. At present, as far as our station is concerned, we are actually subject to the challenge by many unregulated online programs. We are also faced with this problem of copyright infringement. It's not just affecting our station, it's affecting Hong Kong as a whole. In overseas countries, many of our programs have been shown unauthorized, And in some cases, these programs have been shown even earlier than when they are officially shown on a station. This is the main source of revenue for us. But then for these pirated copies, they are actually not just affecting us, it's also threatening the survival of the entire is affecting the survival of the entire industry. And we have set-top boxes like TV pads and also other devices. So apparently the administration is saying that for things that they are able to regulate, then they'll be prepared to do it. But then for things that are beyond their reach, then they'll just set it free or leave them alone. All right, Chairman, you said that you would be giving us an extra 3 minutes. Originally, I thought that I would have to finish within 3 minutes, and now I have more time, and there is an opportunity for us to say a bit more about our product placement. Well, yes, we've been given warm water by the Secretariat, but then I like the distilled water more. That's why from time to time I would drink distilled water. This is my need, and this is also the actual need of the individual. Well, coming back to product placement, it's very simple because the plot of the drama would need it. So it would not affect your viewing or appreciation of a program, and we are not just promoting a particular product. Well, as far as I'm concerned, just now I needed to drink distilled water. That's why I drank it. So very often when such products are shown in a program, they are solely for the purpose of that particular drama, and we have not deliberately done that. So even if I just consume or drank distilled water, when it's shown on TV, people would say that we have actually inserted this commercial, or this is a product placement. So there is a lot of room for negotiation or discussion with the CA. That's why after this meeting, I'll be talking to the CA as to how this should be defined, because in overseas countries, this is very commonplace. And if you can have certain modes that can increase revenue, then of course that would be good.
You have more money to fund the production, and as a result, our programs will be able to compete internationally. So we hope the government will seriously consider this point. Thank you. We have representatives from the administration and from the CA, but they are mainly here to listen. But if any of you would like to respond to the views expressed by deputations and the two broadcasters, by all means, you can speak. No? Okay. Now the floor is open to members. We have Mr. Sin Chung Kai, Mr. Claudia Mold, and other members. Mr. Paul Chair. Who else? 3 minutes. Mr. Sin Chung Kai. Chairman. I hope CA and the Permanent Secretary can pay attention to this. You're handling two things. First, the license renewal. Given your regulatory system, you have free to air the licenses issues, and you can use some spectrum, but you haven't told us whether the licensee should use all the available spectrum. You have so many channels for the existing broadcasters. Is it a must that they are given all the channels? Can some be taken back? The Democratic Party has convened a press conference raising objection to the renewal of ATV's license. And the CA and the administration should tell us that even if you decide to renew the licenses, are you obliged to give them all the available channels? Chairman, in terms of policy, in 2007, we published the spectrum policy, and we have exchanged views a number of times under the existing spectrum policy, whether we are talking about spectrum for broadcasting or for communication. We allow the market mechanism to operate unless there's an overriding public interest reason, in terms of renewal or the assignment of spectrum, well, the assignment of spectrum is the responsibility of the CA. So in terms of the renewal of license exercise, the CA would take into account all these matters into consideration. Well, my questions have not been answered. In the analog era, and now we are in the digital era, of course you use them you allow them to use the spectrum for broadcasting, and you also allow them to do broadcasting now, digital broadcasting now. So it's an analog plus digital, the broadcasting that you allow them to do. So the question is it a must that you must give them all the channels available now? So for the CA, the question is, do all the broadcasters have to be given the same number of channels as they are now? Would there be a possibility of putting up some of the spectrum for auction? I think they have answered your questions. It's not in line with the existing policy. But there's a part of the question that's related to the renewal exercise. Can the administration give us a paper whether consideration will be given to the fact that that we have digital broadcasting now, and what about the available spectrum for other purposes? Many deputations and members have accused one of the broadcasters for having so many reruns, because you don't have so many programs to fill up all the time slots. So can we give ATV fewer channels since they have fewer programs upon renewal? And if TVB has got more programs, can we give us a bigger spectrum? I know what Mr. Sin is trying to say, and understand your views. And now we are still in the process of renewal. So we have to respect the views of the CA. I believe that the CA has heard you, Mr. Sin, but at this point, it's difficult to be specific. Well, the CA is there to enforce the law. The policy is set by the government. If the government doesn't have this policy, you cannot ask them to consider this. Don't pass the buck from one to another. And it's just like the Ricky Wong's case. The number set is 5,000, so it's 5,000. Ms. Claudia Mould, in this hearing, we have heard lopsided views, and that is no one has praised ATV, and no one is in favor of renewing the ATV license. And the ATV representative has said nothing to apologize, and you have offered no explanation as to why the popular current affairs program, the discussion forum, was not rerun. It's about public opinion. It's not populism here. I don't think I have much to say. A question for TVB. Mr. Lee Po-on somewhat grudgingly complained that you are business, and why should you be penalized for product placement, which is practiced all over the world. So is it really the rationale for product placements in your programs? And Mr. Ho has suggested, Mr. Holman Kidd has proposed that we should separate production and broadcasting. And the CA would say that this is a policy matter. It's for the CDB. And the CDB people would say that it's up to the CA to offer advice. So you are passing the buck. How can you discharge your proper duties? Two questions. Separate product placement and separation of production and broadcasting. Mr. Zhou Wang, regarding spectrum as well as the separation of broadcasting and production. Under the existing licensing system, a TV broadcaster is not bound to only broadcast its own programs. They can purchase programs. So they can air programs not produced by itself. But of course, the spectrum is assigned to a licensed broadcaster. As a licensee, the licensee has to make sure that the programs aired through the spectrum have to live up to local requirements and standards. But the programs can be something purchased. We have the Permanent Secretary attending as Vice Chairman of the CA. Would you like to say something? In respect of spectrum, the CA in the renewal exercise considers the arrangement of assignment of spectrum, because under the law, assignment of spectrum is the job of the CA. As regards product placement, in the current guidelines, in the codes that we issued, well, we have to work in accordance with certain procedures. If there's ambiguities or things that has to be clarified, or we have to do something to improve, CA is ready to listen to comments and suggestions. Mr. Billy Lau, as an international city, we have only so few TV broadcasters and channels. It's a shame. And ATV programs are particularly bad. People are so angry that sometimes they want to smash the TV set. And people are not satisfied with the TVB standard. In the last licensing application exercise, the CA suggested that 3 licenses be issued. The CA in Council decided that only 2 should be issued. People were so angry. And then there was a gathering with some academics. Mr. Sin raised the same question. I listened very carefully. It was the same question. For the 2 broadcasters, they have altogether 15 channels. And even if the licenses are renewed, some of the channels can be taken back. Of course, it's up to the CE in Council to make the final decision. If they continue to act against public opinion, I think the repercussions can be very serious. And even if you want to renew the license of ATV, you can take back some of the channels. The important thing is you must allow new entrants to promote competition. If you have many different forums and channels for people to air their views freely, then no one would be so concerned about the so-called focus program, ATV in focus. I also asked this question: local singers sing. Well, local singers are not allowed to perform in local programs unless except those which are aired after midnight. In the past, these singers were allowed to perform during the peak hours. Can we get an answer? TVB would like to respond. Mr. Lee Po-on. For singers which do not have contracts with TVB can perform on TVB programs. And even for charity performances, you have many singers. And even for the popular song programs, they can also compete for TVB awards. Are we going to have music programs, popular music programs during peak hours? But that depends on viewers' demand. For J, the people like dramas, but for J2, during peak hours, we have music programs to offer more choices. So if you view our programs more often, you would certainly find that more programs are to your liking. Can we get some response from ATV? Mr. Yip, ATV has done a lot to promote. In the past, we did a lot to promote pop songs in Hong Kong. We have a program to air a particular song a day. We promote original compositions, original songs, and look banks. We offer more opportunity for original creativity. And we also interviewed many singers through other programs. It's said that free TV is really not up to standard. I think the responsibility rests with the government because of this. TVB has been allowed to compete with someone which is not capable of putting up a fight. So I don't want to criticize the two broadcasters. They are in business. One was given the task of being a political broadcaster by the Communist Party, and the other is doing it in another way. So it's a waste of time to criticize them. I want to ask this question. Where in other places can you find that the broadcasters' licenses are issued by the head of the administration, unless it's a dictatorship? In which jurisdictions can we find a system whereby the license are issued based on the decision of the head of government?
This is really a dictatorship. So he has the ultimate say on who's going to be given a license. So which jurisdictions would have the head of the government making the decision on issuing or not issuing a license to a particular broadcaster? Well, in different places they have different systems, and they have their own way of going about their own business. Do you have the information? I do not have such information with me on the licensing regime of different places, but then in Hong Kong's case, the ultimate decision will rest with the CE in council, and that's the stipulation in the law. I've taken you to court on this, and even in court they have not been able to find anything to support that allegation. That's why I won the case, and then you sought a review of the verdict by the judge, and even if the case went up to a higher court, there was nothing that the judge could do about it. So your system or your system is corrupted. This is a system which is not used elsewhere. We call ourselves an advanced economy, and yet when it comes to the communications authority, when it gives an advice to the CE in council, it could decide not to take it up as advice, and there is no explanation whatsoever on why the recommendation by the CA was not taken heed of. Mr. Raymond Chan, well, as a program, I think our program is remarkable today, and your comments are of very high quality, and it's also very entertaining. Even for the two broadcasters, if you look at Mark Lee's response and also Mr. Ip Kapo's response, they are very enlightening. But then as soon as it goes to the officials, immediately it's like tuning into another channel, because it's not entertaining, it's not enlightening at all. So at the end of the day, is the CE in Council which will be making the final decision. So even if the CA makes a recommendation that ATV's license should not be renewed, and yet the CE in Council could choose to ignore it. So I can give you an example. That is, can I do this simple opinion poll? Who think that ATV should not have its license renewed? All right, over 90% of you think that it should not have its license renewed. So officials, all right, you said that you attach a lot of importance to public opinions, and you said that the public's comments or opinions would feature very prominently in your decision-making process. All right, here you can see that the deputations are here. So would you be making this decision not to renew the license for ATV if over 99%, or if you can see that that's the mainstream opinion in the public hearings? And also on the viewership survey, all right, we are saying that very few people are watching, or there is nobody watching ATV. That's because the viewership survey shows that the viewership is 0%. So does the administration have a role to play here? Because public perception is based on such a survey. But then if these surveys are not accurate, and some people might even think that they have distorted the picture, and they are deceptive in nature. So, and if the administration is doing its decision or making its decision on that basis, then what would happen if you do not have an official survey, and what role can be played by the public? Permanent Secretary? Okay. As a member from the CA, I can say a few words here. In fact, we are conducting this license review. We have to look at a basket of factors in making the decision. And in a paper that we have submitted, we have already set that out. And actually, last time, we also discussed this. There were 3 areas that we look at. So those are the criteria, including whether the 2 licensees, during the past 11 years or so, what's their performance, and also whether or not they have been able to comply with the regulatory regime. On how many occasions have they been punished? I was asking about the viewership survey, whether or not the administration should play a role. There were 2 questions. Well, to be fair, you have 2 questions, Raymond Chen, so she has not answered the second question, and her time's up after answering your first question, so we'll leave it until later when she answers your second part. Yes, Mr. Paul Chair. Once again, I'd like to thank the deputations for coming today, because you have shown that you can be very rational and humorous when you argue, and still it can be very effective. But then I'm sure the 2 broadcasters have heard many of those views before, but then it shows that the public do have their own views on this. I'd like to ask the administration this. Apparently there are several problems here. Over the years, in terms of your regulation, you've been rather complacent, and as a result, the 2 broadcasters are not just experiencing problems, and in fact, in terms of communication, there are also a lot of problems. And apparently there is this complaint right now that the CA has now reached a state. I've been criticizing the travel industry's monitoring authority or regulatory authority, saying that they would just be punishing people for not doing their jobs, but then you're not actually doing anything to prevent this from happening. So you should have highlighted the importance of compliance with the regulations, because in the past the travel industry has been criticizing the TIC, saying that you would just be punishing me when I commit any mistakes, but then you have not told me what I'm supposed to do. And for the 2 broadcasters, of course, I'm not suggesting that you should collude, but then I think communication is another story. You should have talked to one another more often, so that you would not be punishing them when there are untoward incidents. You should have told them what the criteria or the requirements are. With advancement in technology has developed in leaps and bounds, but then have we been able to catch up with time? For example, when it comes to commercials, and also for pirated copies or infringement of copyright and so on. Well, these are not just affecting our media, they are also affecting our printed press and so on. But then apparently you will only be prepared to consider it when it comes to the renewal of licenses. Well, as time has changed, as the market conditions have changed, as the mode of operation has been changing worldwide, so for the regulatory mechanism, it should be reviewed. Well, some people have suggested that there should be segregation of the operation of the channels and also the production of programs, and also the spectrums should be increased, and they could also be partitioned into smaller shares and so on. So all these are reasonable arguments, and yet the administration has not addressed those points. I hope that you can take the opportunity on this occasion. You should not wait any further. You should not drag your feet any further. Given the developments that have taken place so far, you should have looked at the mechanism and also the existing operator and possible future operators. If you do not resolve the problems right now, then they are just going to continue. There is no time for them to respond. Second round, Emily Lau, Leung Kwok Hong, and Raymond Chen, 2 minutes each. Claudia Motu. Chairman, I hope that after the meeting, you can give them a chance to conclude what they have said. Well, there is one point that I'd like to make. I hope that if this panel agrees, then at the council meeting, you can move a motion debate on behalf of a panel. Well, we do not have to state a position as to whether or not we are against the renewal of license. Well, press freedom. Well, we mentioned that the other day when we had meals together. Well, for the two broadcasters, with regard to your news department, when you produce news programs, you should not be acting as a backseat driver. Apparently, you have given a blacklist to your news department, saying that certain people should not be interviewed. Well, in order to show the editorial independence of your news department, you should have given them a free hand, and they should enjoy autonomy. And then for the two broadcasters, you should also talk to the singers, the artists, and so on, because they are very angry about this, because they think that you are suffocating creativity and they are not allowed to express their free views. I think mostly that's because of monetary considerations. Yes, you say that the public like to watch TV dramas, but then they are not popular at all. You should have put in more resources in producing these drama series or music programs so that people would be prepared to watch them instead of just turning off or switching off their TV sets. All right, Emily Lau has specifically asked you to respond to this. Have you interfered with the operation of the news department? So, Mr. Ip, can you say a few words on this? Well, our station has never interfered with the operation of the news department. That's our code. In particular, for since I've assumed the post of executive director of the company, I've allowed the news department a free hand in running its business, and we hope that for focus, we have allowed people from different political affiliations to express their views in our program. Yes, Mr. Mark Lee, we have never interfere with the editorial independence of our news department. Well, as you can see, during the past public hearings and so on, yes, you can see that our reporters would be around. And then, on the contrary, when I watch our news programs, I often saw the face of Emily Lau. So her face appears in our programs very often. So nobody would criticize us for not allowing anybody to appear in our programs. In fact, there is live broadcasts, including the paid stations, because they have more channels and therefore they can afford to have live broadcasts of programs or meetings like this. And for our interactive news program, so Ms. Emily Lau, whenever you speak, the Hong Kong public can hear and see what you say. There is no way that we can suppress anybody from speaking or prevent anybody from appearing on our program. You're right in saying that many artists and singers would need this program to showcase their talents, but then there is limited room, because if you show a TV drama, then there is no slot for you to show another another music program. That's why, precisely because of that, we need more channels and airwaves in order to run more programs. Next, Leung Kwok Hong, Chairman, I think ATV's case is very clear. How come Jiang Zemin can be dead and then be alive again? I think there is a ruling on this because somebody who should not have been in control of your station has given the instruction for this news to be reported. So we are not talking about anything into the future, Chairman. This, all right. This has happened. We should not be criticizing the two broadcasters because it's under their dictatorship that we had this monopoly. All right, this is a very valuable asset. That is, our airwaves have been compressed, and if you have been able to open that up, then people will be able to compete, and then Raymond Wong can produce this program. This is a documentary or talk show, and then everybody will have to pay $200 for watching an episode. I've been wondering where I can find this episode, where I can review this program. So ATV, when are you going to rerun this talk show hosted by Raymond Wong? Because that used to be one of your prime shows back in those days. So you've never rerun this talk show. Do you admit that? Will you be rerunning that show? And if you're not going to do that, how come? This is a very popular show. Why is it that you're not rerunning it? Are you thinking that you have too much money and therefore you would be prepared to allow the money to go down the drains without rerunning this? So why are you not rerunning this talk show hosted by Raymond Wong? We've been considering doing this. We've been considering this. The reason why we have not yet done that, that's because we would like to, well, there were different members of this council appearing in this show. That's why we'd like to have this contrast, because back in those days, they made certain remarks, and what are they doing now? So we'd like to repackage it. It's not just about rerunning it. We'd like to enhance it. All right. With your hand in your heart, and if you do not do that, then you'll be subject to a lot of criticisms.
Mr. Chen Chi-Chin, well, I have two questions, but I hope the CA would respond with action. Let's say, let's wait until November, then we know what CA would suggest. As for the ratings, the survey of ratings, but there's no unified system to gather information on ratings. CA, as the regulator, will never do this for our licensees. Will not assess the popularity or the ratings of licensees. But as for the public views on the programs of the licensees, this time we are having a comprehensive public opinion survey. We would look into this. And we'll collate the information gathered through the opinion survey, and that would form a major part of the considerations in license renewal. So the CA has got nothing to do even though they are criticized in quality, or if they are providing something misleading or biased, we'll take action. And actually, we have done that. What about the two broadcasters on viewership ratings? Mr. Chang, all over the world, the statistics on ratings are just like currency for TV broadcasters, because the advertiser would like to have something objective to go by in buying airtime, and the value of the airtime is based on viewership, and that's why in other jurisdictions they have boards or committees to monitor how the viewership ratings are assessed. And over the years, TVB has supported this. But now we have some problems. We think we should comply with international standards and practice. We should set up a committee which would decide on the standards and the choice of the contractors for assessing viewership. Mr. Yip, yes, ATV did participate in a viewership survey in the past, and the survey companies in the past and the current one, in our view, have some problems with transparency issues and methodology issues. That's why we have not participated in the past couple of years. In 2012, we commissioned the Hong Kong University Public Opinion Program to conduct a survey on our behalf, and we have come to realize that the ratio of viewers between ATV and TVB is 4 to 6. Many people do not understand the basis of that ratio, and there are many adverse comments. So we have suspended that exercise recently. Although you may claim that your viewership is 4 to 6, it's not true in terms of commercial and advertisement revenue. Well, although they have made some wrongdoing, they have said nothing to turn a new leaf. And there are some of the deputations would like to respond. Can I keep my time to these deputations to respond? Well, I chair the meeting, not you, and I have to make sure that we can will adjourn by 11. And okay, I have to make sure that all members who want to speak have already spoken before I give speaking time to deputations. Mr. Paul Chair. I think the broadcasters should clarify what is meant by the spirit of 4 to 6. And people would like to see the talk show hosted by Mr. Raymond Wong and others rerun. Technology has advanced. We can see different programs on like cable TV or on the internet, but many people do not have much choice, and apart from free TV, so the government is obliged to provide more choice through free TV. While we want to maintain the capacity for local production, can we open our airwaves just like an open sky policy that will allow more airliners to compete? As long as we can allow fair competition, can we allow more players? And this will also address the problem of complaints arising from political inclinations. Because if there are many channels, you can choose whichever channels that you like. You can switch off, switch to another channel if that channel's political views are considered not to your liking. And also, apart from the license renewal, we should consider the questions such as number of channels, restriction on advertisement, and so on and so forth. The system we have now is lagging behind the time. Ms. Elizabeth Kwok, I'd like to thank the deputations for coming to offer your views today. First of all, I have no intention to deny that the two TV broadcasters have contributed to the entertainment industry in Hong Kong. But from the deputations and the comments offered, the two broadcasters, I think, would understand that people are not really happy about the performance, and there are many new demands, new needs. I have not heard anything from the broadcasters as regards how or whether you are going to improve your production and whether more local programs will be offered. I've heard nothing that you are going to adopt certain strategy to improve quality and standards of your programs. The TV broadcasters have to move in tandem with the times, and so should our law. There have been some disagreement and arguments about TV broadcasting service. It has to do with the law we have. Many people, many parties have asked for different things. We want to have more choice, higher quality in programming. So shouldn't we conduct a review on the broadcasting ordinance and the communications ordinance as soon as possible? I think the government should give a clear account on our future development of broadcasting industry. For the remaining time, I will give the two broadcasters to sum up their views. I don't think the officials have anything to offer. They are now in the consultation phase, and time is valuable here. Over to the broadcasters. I'm Yip Karpo from ATV. Our slogan, starting from this year, is to bring new ideas to you. ATV has been changing all the time. We have attended a number of public forums, and also we have the benefit of your input and comments today. So in terms of programming and the variety of programs we offer, we would carefully consider what we heard. As we've said in the public forum, public hearings, in May, we are going to roll out a series of new programs, and we hope we will open our platform even more, and we will be balanced, allow people from different persuasions to offer their views. We allow different producers, creative people to offer their views. We may also invite elderly people to perform on our programs. We are going to be opening up even more to different people. Mention was made about music. We'll actively do something to promote creativity, to allow people with creative ideas to showcase their talents on our programs. As we have said, ATV has been trying to strike a different course vis-a-vis TVB, but of course people may or may not like the way we do things, and of course there's room for improvement. We're willing to take on board suggestions, and I hope very soon you'll see a different ATV before you. Mr. Lee Po-on, I welcome views and comments and demands. Views and demands must be assessed in relative terms. Many people have asked for more things and different things. Of course, we want our programs to be popular and we can attract more viewers. But to a commercial broadcaster, that means we need more revenue. For example, we need to have more advertising revenue, and we need to have better protection for our copyright revenue. So I haven't heard anything from the government. I've got 44 seconds, and I hope through you, Chairman, you can help us by asking the officials to deregulate rules on advertisements and how the government can promise to protect copyright. So since Mr. Lee has asked the government to respond to the 2 points he has made, can we have something from the government or the CA? I cannot really promise that there will be deregulation in this renewal exercise. It's impossible. But of course, during this exercise, we'll have an opportunity to tell the broadcasters that should we decide to issue new licenses, there may be changes to the codes or rules and requirements. We can have a discussion then, but we cannot make any promise here. We have to adjourn by 11 a.m., but there are 2 more things that I need to handle. First, on the 27th of March, at 8:30 or from 8:30 to 10:30, we have a special meeting convened at the request of some members. It's about Hong Kong, the conflict between Hong Kong Mobile TV and CA. So please attend that meeting if you are concerned about the subject. And also Ms. Emily Lau has asked me to move a motion for debate in a council meeting. It's still in the consultation period. Or if members agree that I should move a motion so that we can have a debate, I'll do so. Well, it will last until the end of this year. Their timetable will not affect us. I hope this Secretariat will issue invitations to members, to panel members. As regards Mr. Lee's suggestions, let's have our views fully expressed in the motion debate. Chairman, it seems that we can extend our meeting by 15 minutes if members agreed and officials consenting, because those who are here, many of them would like to speak. So if you don't object, can you allow this? Oh, all right, let's extend the meeting for 15 minutes. So hands up for those who want to speak again on this side. Oh, let's do it all over again. 2 minutes each. Oh, all right, 1 minute. I've been reminded by the secretary that we don't have time.
Okay, so we'll extend our meeting by 15 minutes, and that's the best we can do because of the rules of procedure. Okay, so starting from this side, in accordance with where you sit, where you're seated. Okay, just now I heard Mark Lee using his 6 minutes, and he was not addressing the points that we made. He was giving his own views. I think he should have sat on this side of the meeting room, and he said that for product placement is as simple as drinking the salt water at the meeting, but then it's not the same because you're actually hard selling mooncakes, you're hard selling certain products, and as a result you've been fined. So Mark Lee, please do not mislead people. And also, whether product placement is indeed as simple as taking out a bottle of water to drink. Well, it's like a box of, it's like a tissue paper box. Is it really part of the program or part of the series? But then, how about sending people a whole pile of cookies? I've never done that before. I've never seen that, and I would find that strange, having this appearing in a particular drama series. All right, yes, Mr. Chen. I think the focus of our discussion should not be on the 2 TV broadcasters. It should be on the system itself. How we can have a better system so that for bad guys, they would not be allowed to do bad things. For example, we should encourage more local productions. We should have independent producers producing programs. We should also restrict that for airwaves showing programs. They should be required to procure programs from these independent producers so that they would not be monopolizing resources, so that for the smaller producers or production studios, they would also be able to survive. And also, whether or not the licensees should be required to pay if they are not producing a certain number of programs, so that no licensee would be allowed to sit on their license without producing programs. Well, for our Olympics and also World Cup, supposedly these should have been shown on all free-to-air stations, and yet we have not been able to do that. That's why we have to do something about it. And also, when you look at the commercials, actually you would also have to look at the nature of such commercials, particularly when it comes to if you use your credit card, then I'll be prepared to give you loans and so on. So this is going to affect or send out the wrong message to the younger generation. So if they are given a free hand as to what they are allowed to do in TV commercials, then that might be problematic. Because if people just take out loans indiscriminately, then at the end of the day, they might suffer. So we have to be more careful. And if they do not do it conscionably, then that would be a problem. Well, I think the whole system is problematic. We expect that there should be a public consultation exercise on the broadcasting ordinance and also on the licensing regime. Once again, we'd like to emphasize that earlier on, when it comes to the midterm review, the Communication Authority did try to conduct an opinion poll, but then the results were rather surprising. Only less than 7% of the people were not happy with the current situation. I expect the CA to conduct another opinion poll. I hope that could be done in a transparent manner, and then all the questions in a questionnaire should be open to the public so that we'll be able to see for ourselves whether or not the questionnaire is problematic. We also would like to have this community or public service channel, because different people from different quarters of a community, they might not be producing programs in order to make money. They should be allowed to air their programs. Yes, first of all, I support the idea of technology neutral. Well, for ATV and TVB, they can also have mobile TV programs being shown on the internet. I think it's legitimate and it's lawful. But then if that is the case, then Ricky Law should not have been considered to have broken the law. And also for product placement, every broadcaster has already got time slots for showing commercials, and if you use your TV drama series to insert product placement, then again you are showing commercials. Well, in Korea, yes, they have product placement, but then they would not have commercial breaks. And in Hong Kong, you have already got commercial breaks. And if you have product placement, then actually you are showing commercials all the time throughout all your time slots. That's not reasonable. Next, you're not going to speak. Tsang Heng Kwang. Thank you, Chairman. Just now, I watched the live broadcast, and I was shown rather handsomely. But then I think ATV is producing programs on a 4:3, that is low definition, and then for the high definition program, none of them is nice to see. All right, at 8:30 this evening, TVB Jade will be showing this program on the Changlong Hotel. Or Chamlong Hotel. So what are you trying to show? Is it a commercial on the resort hotel there? And if you think that is not a TV commercial, then would that be product placement? So can we seek a ruling from the CA? Next, Wang Wai Ming. I'd like to put this to Mr. Ip Ka Po. You said that you been producing documentaries on the base with your conscience, but then for your channels, you're actually rerunning entertainment programs. You're actually contradicting yourself. Well, you still have time left, Ipkapo. I don't quite get it. So you are accusing us of rerunning our entertainment programs all the time. We have this classic channel, and the program is called Remember the Sound. Yes, indeed, we've been running some of our classic programs, and that's the characteristics of that channel. That is the classic channel. But then for the other channels, we would just be rerunning some information or documentary programs, for example, Our Financial Horizon, and also Dr. Kao's blog, and also Asia Today. So these are programs that are documentaries in nature. So, well, J2 made a mistake, and that's a T-shirt which has put up the wrong national emblems or national flag. So, Mark Lee, what are you doing? Well, I'm responsible for management. I'm not responsible for programming. So maybe I'll defer to my colleague from the program department and just leave us your name, and then we will give you a reply later. Alright, TVB has committed mistakes, and I think whatever mistake it has committed, the problem or the consequence would be a lot more dire than the mistake that might be committed by Hong Kong TV, which has fewer than 5,000 households watching. Well, all along we've given a lot of opportunities to ATV so that they could come up with better programs, and yet they have not been bothered to do that, and they have just been doing some meaningless programs. Alright, if you're not capable of producing programs to fill up all the time slots, and if instead you can only rerun programs, alright, for people with different lifestyles, well, you say that they need to watch the programs at different times. I think this is just an excuse. Well, you said that we would be welcome to give you our views, so I very much like to do so. Will you be inviting me to do that? And then TVB has not responded to the point about inaccurate information being given in your programs, and you also talk about collective memory of people growing up in the 80s and 90s, and TVB has lost a lot of viewers, and they have not discharged their corporate responsibility. So please do keep that person in order to show that you've discharged your responsibility. Well, basically, when I made a suggestion, I think there has been some basic misunderstanding. Well, in the UK, with regard to the segregation of the running of channels or broadcasting station and program production, all right, you can have the same channel being run by different producers. So there would be genuine segregation of the management of a TV station and the programming of that station. In Hong Kong, the biggest criticism is that there is no choice by the viewers. We should not deny people who are showing or disseminating information through legitimate channels, but then we have no choice. That's why we are so upset about this. Actually, for good programs, whether or not you have product placement, is still going to be a good program if it's properly produced. I think what the problem that we have these days is that the programs are simply of very low quality. Well, people would not try to, well, if you try to dismiss Tam Yok Ying, then many people will complain about it. So, Mark Lee, can you answer my question? Why are you firing Tam Yok Ying? So what happens? Why are you trying to make life difficult for Tam Yok Ying? So she is a children program host, and now she has been asked to take up a post as an advisor. Well, please mind your language. Please do not use the words messing up with Tam Yok Ying. We do have fixed rules to go by, and therefore we have to act within the rules. So just imagine if Tam Yok Ying and Joshua Wong come out together, inviting people or asking people to join a rally, then what is going to happen? Just imagine that. Okay, all of you have had a chance to speak, right? Okay, it's about time for us to wrap up our meeting. So thank you very much for coming to our public hearing. You have not made a scene here. And we'd also like to thank the administration and also the CA and the 2 broadcasters representatives. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.